Well, good morning. Welcome to American Reversion. I'm Steve Smith, and welcome to all the new reversionists out there. We've welcomed all the new people, is what I mean. Welcome. We've had a lot of people join both the YouTube and the Patreon channel over the last week or so, and we welcome you all. It's great to have you here. A couple of people have said, well, more than a couple, in some comments said, well, I agree with how you describe what you are. I'm not a conservative. I'm a reversionist because I don't want to conserve what we have here. I want a reversion. I want to go back to the way things used to be and the way things they were supposed to be. And somebody could say, well, you know, how far back you want to go? Well, I'll tell you what, I'll take the 50s. I was born in the 50s, grew up in the 50s and the 60s, and I'll tell you what, America was a different place then, and I will take it over what it is now. So for all of those of you who, like me, consider themselves reversionists, welcome, and everybody else, welcome to you as well. You've heard me talk, if you've been with me for a while, either here or on the other channel, Integrative Preparedness. I should tell people about the Patreon. I'll tell you about the Patreon channel in a minute. You've heard me talk, whether here or on Integrative Preparedness channel, talk about John Glubb's Fate of Empires. It's a fairly short, I think it's about 48 pages, where he studied. He was a British Army officer, and he made quite a study of the rise and falls of empires, going way back to the Assyrian Empire and all. And he determined, and he looked at what caused the empire to come into being, what was the cause of its ascendancy, what were the characteristics of its peak, and then what were the causes of their decline and their collapse. And what he came up with was something extremely interesting. And I've referred to this before. And some of you may have read it already on your own. If not, I'm going to show you how you can in a minute. When you studied this, well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to read a synopsis before I say what I'm going to say. I'm going to read the synopsis. Like I say, it's only 48 pages or something like that. He says the stages of the rise and fall of great nations seem to be. Here they are. The age of pioneers, the outburst, a great energetic outburst for freedom and self-determination. And this is just the recap that he's putting at the end of his paper. In the previous part of his paper, he covers all of these in detail. The next is the age of conquest, to where it's expanding. They're projecting their influence beyond where they started. The age of commerce, the time when business and development of society occurs. It's where you see a beginning and a growth of a middle class, a merchant class, a commercial class. The age of intellect, which once we've established that, okay, now things are going along pretty well, and we've established a commercial base, and the nation, the country, whatever it may be, is fairly well established. Now that gives us time to some people time to stop worrying about scrabbling for survival and making money and start thinking, right? And the age of intellect, where intellect starts to gain an ascendancy, and that can be good and bad, and he talks about that. And after the age of intellect comes the age of decadence. Life is easy, right? Life is easy. We don't have to work for it anymore. And he says that the decadence is marked by these things: defensiveness, pessimism. See how many of these you can identify in today's world. I'll start again. Defensiveness, pessimism, materialism, frivolity, parties, sports, whatever. Look what happens in our colleges now. I mean, gosh, you ever been to a spring break? An influx of foreigners, the welfare state, and a weakening of religion. He says that decadence is due to too long a period of wealth and power, selfishness, love of money, and the loss of a sense of duty. Let me go up here for a second and read something that was before that. And how many of those can you identify in our country now? Should I go over it one more time? I will, just in case you'd like to hear it. The age of decadence before the collapse, marked by defensiveness, pessimism, materialism, frivolity, an influx of foreigners, the welfare state, a weakening of religion, and decadence is due to too long a period of wealth and power, selfishness, love of money, and a loss and sense of duty. Now, if we go up here, and this is interesting. We do not learn, he says, from history, because our studies are brief and prejudiced. Sure. How many people do you know that how many people do you know that have a good sense of even American history, let alone world history? How many do you know? You know, Rush Limbaugh used to say that people's grasp of the world, or you know how they view it, pretty much starts when they were born. And because so many people, when they go to school, and you know, on the odd chance that they may get a decent history teacher, it just seems boring to them because it's all about dead guys and it already happened, and what does that have to do with them and all that? Well, it's the old those who fail to, you know, to know their history. And so he says, he kind of puts a variation on that. He says, we do not learn. My dog keeping the intruders at bay. We do not learn from history because our studies are brief and prejudiced, right? They're short, and then they are written by us, the winners, right? And so we don't, and we've talked about this before. I said most people really don't know the truth of the Second World War or the First World War. Heck, most people don't know the truth about the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the so-called GWOT, Global War on Terror. They don't have a clue about the War of Northern Aggression that they call the Civil War. I used to run a gym, and I occasionally, I was stunned by the lack of knowledge. This was in a college town, and a great number of my members were teachers from the college and students, of course. You know, a lot of students, but many of the students, because this has started off, it had a big school of education, so they were you know, studying to be teachers. I was dumbfounded by the ignorance in this group, and so I started putting out a test, just basic things, questions like this: who did we fight to gain our independence? Do you know how few people knew that? I bet you half didn't know that. These are college people, most of them in third or fourth year in their schools of education, about to be thrust upon the world as teachers. What was that war called? A lot of them said the Civil War. I asked, when did that war occur? A lot of them said the 1940s. I asked for the three branches of government. I would say at least half didn't know. I don't remember the figures exactly right, but it was just astounding. I may be given higher marks than they deserve through my memory. What else might I have said? Oh yeah, What's 20% of 200? The vast majority could not tell me that. And so I would sit down, those who were my instructors, and I said, wait a minute. 20% of 200. Okay? I don't know. I'm not good at math. And they didn't seem to be ashamed. They didn't say, it was just kind of funny. I don't know. I said, well, okay, wait a minute. Okay, how about 20% of 100? I don't know. When I finally explained it, I said, well, how do you, if you go and you're looking for a new cute outfit and it says 20% off, how do you know what you're supposed to pay? Well, the cash register does that. Oh my gosh, So, I went off on a tangent, I'm sorry. We do not learn from history because our studies are brief and prejudiced. So that is, it's written by the winners. Half of what they hear out there in the history books is a bunch of crap. Most of the things that the Americans know or don't know, most Americans don't know most of it, and the things that they know are very often wrong. Secondly, in a surprising manner, 250 years emerges as the average length of national greatness. And this average has not varied for 3,000 years. So, 250 years. How long has America, the United States of America, been going on? We're coming up on 250 years, aren't we? Is it any surprise that what's happening is happening? The decline of our country is directly related to these things that he's talking about. Pessimism, materialism, frivolity, an influx of foreigners, the welfare state, a weakening of religion. And is due to too long a period of wealth and power, selfishness, love of money, and the loss of sense of duty. If you look around your world, how many people do you think you can apply this to? Now, hopefully, you guys are all, have a good sense of our history and the way that our country was supposed to be, and how, the remedies for problems. I'll be real honest. The remedies for the problems that we have, I think, are quickly diminishing in their possibilities. But we'll talk about that more on another one. This is something that I suggest everybody read and have at hand and start discussing with people. But I knew you all would be interested to hear this if you haven't. This is available in a PDF that I'm going to post this over on the Patreon channel. And I want to especially welcome and thank everybody who has just in the last week come over and joined us on the Patreon channel. When you do that, you help support the channel. And I think I said on yesterday's that I had never put in tiers before, and some people had been confused about those things. So I've put in I never wanted to put in tiers, but now I've put in tiers. So if you go there, and I put a link for those of you who are not with us on Patreon, one of the things I do is I post things like this and a lot of things over on Patreon in addition to what we talk about here on YouTube. And so that's what gives me the ability to do this. So this will be, after I put this up, this will be link. If you go to Patreon and you go to this video, then the link to this, the PDF, will be right there. You can read it, you can download it, you can print it off, you can give it to friends, and I encourage you to do that. Please do that. How we fight this battle now is informationally. As I've said, that voting is only the beginning. Voting is the beginning of the political process. It's not the end. And being involved in this and educating other people is really the key if we're going to have any chance to turn it around. Now, according to Glub here, it doesn't really look like any in the past have turned around, and until they have hit rock bottom, and then something comes back up out the other side. That sometimes is good and sometimes is bad. There was a big difference in the American Revolution and the French Revolution, right? So so that will be over there. So if oh, I'm sorry. For those of you who are new, I do this occasionally. I interrupt myself because I start thinking about 3 different things at the same time. So if you go over there, there are tiers. Now I want to be real clear about this. $1 gets you everything. Now there are other tiers, $5 or whatever I put in there, because I know that and a lot of people, even before, have pledged more than that just to support the channel, and we appreciate that so much. So I've put in other tiers that you can choose from, but it won't get you any more content. It's just, it allows you, if you feel so led, to support the channel at a higher amount, and we certainly appreciate that. And we value every patron, whether it's $1 or however much. So that will be over there. What I would be really interested in hearing all yours comments. And please share this video. Now that we're back and rolling on American Reversion, and we're entering the, what they used to call the crazy season, and now I'll call it the insane season, coming up to an election, there's going to be so much to cover, and so much that we need to keep in mind, so much that we need to know so that we can share it with those around us and have an effect, have an impact on them. So please share this with people that you know. Leave your comments. What are your thoughts about this down there? Because everybody learns. When you leave a comment, it gives other people something to think about. It gives me something to think about. And that's helpful to everybody. It's supposed to be, this is the town square. If you think about what was going on back during, before 1776, it was people talking and trying to influence people, try to educate people, try to inform people. So we appreciate all of that. This, by the way, I neglected to let you know, many of you do. This video, as all of them, are brought to you by the Stonemont series. The Reversion, the Revival, the Renewal, and Appeal to Heaven, and the Blessings of Freedom. The story of preparing for, surviving, and then rebuilding after a total collapse. Yes, these are the books that I wrote about that. And I am frantically working on number 6. I haven't decided on a name for it yet. But as I think I said the other day, maybe there are some exciting things going on in the background in the Stonemont world. Not in the books, in real life. And hopefully I'll be able to share some of those with you. I almost said soon. I can't promise. I don't know when. But I'm looking forward to it very much. So anyway, thank you all. If you want to know how to get the books, if you want to know how to get to us on Patreon, I always put the links down below in the information section and in a pinned comment. Great to have you here. You all have a great day. Go read and download and share with others Glubb's Fate of Empires, and get ready for a rocky road here in the next few months. And remember, America needs a reversion. It needs all of you and us reversionists out there starting to take this message out there. And it does need all of us. So you all have a good day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.